Chapter 5, Indian Interlude. In London, Gandhi never got beyond Leviticus and Numbers. The first books of the Old Testament bored him. Later in life he enjoyed the prophets, Psalms and Ecclesiastes. The New Testament was more interesting, and the Sermon on the Mount went straight to my heart. He saw similarities between it and the Gita. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak too. These words of Christ delighted Gandhi. Other verses struck a sympathetic chord in the Mahatma-to-be, blessed are the meek. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you. Whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. Agree with thine adversary quickly. Whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery already in his heart. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Forgive men their trespasses. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. It was thanks to a Bible salesman in England that Gandhi read the Old and New Testaments. At the suggestion of a friend, he read Thomas Carlyle's essay on the Prophet Mohammed. Having met Madame H.P. Blavatsky and Mrs. Besant in London, he studied their books on theosophy. Gandhi's religious reading was accidental and desultory. Nevertheless, it apparently met a need, for he was not a great reader and, apart from law tomes, had not read much, not even a history of India. Gandhi refused to join Britain's new theosophist movement, but he rejoiced in Mrs. Besant's renunciation of godlessness. He himself had already traversed the Sahara of atheism and emerged from it thirsty for religion. In this state he returned to India in the summer of 1891. He was more worldly but no more articulate. He quickly recognized his failures, yet stubbornly insisted on having his way. He was self-critical and self-confident, temperamentally shy and intellectually sure. On landing at Bombay, his brother told him that Putlabhi, their mother, was dead. The news had been kept from Mohandas, because the family knew his devotion to her. He was shocked, but his grief, greater than when his father died, remained under control. Gandhi's son Harila was 4. His brothers had several older children, boys and girls. The returned barrister led them in physical exercises and walks, and played and joked with them. He also had time for quarrels with his wife. Once, in fact, he sent her away from Rajkot to her parents' home in Porbandar. He was still jealous. He performed all the duties of a husband except support his wife and child. He had no money. Laxmidas Gandhi, a lawyer in Rajkot, had built high hopes on his younger brother. But Mohandas was a complete failure as a lawyer in Rajkot as well as in Bombay, where he could not utter a word during a petty case in court. Laxmidas, who had financed Gandhi's studies in England, was even more disappointed at his brother's failure to carry out a delicate mission for him. Laxmidas had been the secretary and advisor of the heir to the throne of Porbandar. He was thus destined, it seemed, to follow in his father's and grandfather's footsteps and become prime minister of the little state. But he lost favor with the British political agent. Now Mohandas had casually met the agent in London. Laxmidas therefore wanted his brother to see the Englishman and adjust matters. Gandhi did not think it right to presume on a slight acquaintance and ask an interview for such a purpose. But he yielded to his brother's importuning. The agent was cold. Laxmidas could apply through the proper channels if he thought he had been wronged. Gandhi persisted. The agent showed him the door. Gandhi stayed to argue. the agent's clerk or messenger took hold of Gandhi and put him out. The shock of the encounter with the British agent, Gandhi declares in his autobiography, changed the course of my entire life. He had been doing odd legal jobs for the ruling prince. He and his brother hoped he would finally obtain a position as judge or minister in the government, which might lead to further advancement in the tradition of the family. But his altercation with the agent upset these plans. Only a sycophant could succeed and get on. The episode intensified his dislike of the atmosphere of petty intrigue, palace pomp and snobbery which prevailed in Porbandar, Rajkot and the other miniature principalities of the Kathiawar Peninsula. It was poison to character. Gandhi yearned to escape from it. At this juncture, a business firm of Porbandar Muslims offered to send him to South Africa for a year as their lawyer. He seized the opportunity to see a new country and get new experiences. He wanted somehow to leave India. So, after less than 2 not-signed successful years in his native land, its future leader boarded a ship for Zanzibar, Mozambique and Natal. He left behind him his wife and 2 children. On October 28, 1892, a second son named Manilal had been born. By way of consolation, Gandhi assured Kasturbai that we are bound to meet again in a year. In Bombay, Gandhi had met Rikandbai. No one else, Gandhi said, has ever made on me the impression that Rikandbai did. Rikandbai was a jeweler poet with a phenomenal memory. He was rich, a connoisseur of diamonds and pearls, and a good businessman. Gandhi was impressed by his religious learning, his upright character, and his passion for self-realization. Rikandbai's deeds, Gandhi felt, were guided by his desire for truth and godliness. Gandhi trusted him completely. In a crisis, Gandhi ran to Rikandbai for confession and comfort. From South Africa, Gandhi sought and obtained Rikandbai's advice. Nevertheless, Gandhi did not accept Rikandbai as his guru. Hindus believe that every man should acknowledge a guru, a superior person, near or far, living or dead, as one's teacher, guide, or mentor. But Rikandbai lacked the perfection that Gandhi sought in a guru. Gandhi never did find a guru. The throne has remained vacant, he said. For a Hindu, this is tremendously significant, and for Gandhi it is endlessly revealing. In the presence of prominent men he felt respect, humility and awe, but, wrapped in these sentiments, he sometimes became impervious to their thoughts. With all his diffidence, he was spiritually independent. Ideas came to him occasionally through books, but chiefly through his own acts. He remade himself by tapping his own inner resources. Gandhi was a self-remade man, and the transformation began in South Africa. It is not that he turned failure into success. Using the clay that was there, he turned himself into another person. His was a remarkable case of second birth in one lifetime.